Welcome back to the Celtics Nation Rise podcast, episode 94. I'm your host, Griffin Aldrich. Alongside me, we got David Caires and Daniel Miguel, my two great co-hosts. And I tell you what, it's crazy. Again, we're making our way to episode 100 on the quest for that. But you guys know the drill. How have you guys been feeling about the Boston Celtics as of recently? We've had some good games, and especially last night, coming off of a great win against the Miami Heat. How are you guys feeling? As I gotta get this jersey. Shout out Amari Williams jersey right here. That's just floating in the air. But I know you guys like this because you're big Amari fans. So we gotta rep this one. But what do you guys have for us? We'll start off with you, David.
Yeah, happy with how we've been playing lately. Really no complaints. It really just seems like Tatum's coming into form right before the playoffs. He just had his fifth career triple double last night against Miami, and just his whatever it was, like 12th game back from tearing his Achilles, which is just insane. Jaylen Brown is still doing Jaylen Brown things, especially last night. For me, the last interesting thing of the regular season, besides us maintaining that 2 seed, which currently we're 2.5 games up on the Knicks. So hopefully, with 7 games left to play or 6 games left to play, whatever it is, 7 games left to play, we can just keep that 2 seed. Other than that, is seeing if, which we'll talk about, Vucevic can get some reps in before the playoffs. So I'm feeling really good about the team. I think last night, credit to Ian for tweeting about this, but I think last night was a great teaser as to what our playoff rotation is going to look like, more or less, with the 5 guys, burgers and fries as a starting lineup, and then Shireman, Pritchard, and Vooch or Garza off the bench. So yeah, I'm just optimistic. I'm still watching these games from start to finish, even though it's the dog days of the NBA regular season. But the Celtics are looking like they're getting ready to run through the finish line rather than stumble through the finish line, which is always great to see.
Yeah, I agree. I think last night was kind of like put the whole season into perspective. I think like the whole season has been great, but I think this was that there couldn't have been better timing for this podcast because I think we just like reached a peak level last night, and it just seemed like yeah, Jalen Brown is good, yeah, Tatum is good, yeah, we have a good team, but I think it wasn't really like a test to this Miami team. I think it was just more like just like a bounce back after that loss against the Hawks. It was the perfect bounce back for the team. Um, and you have your two best players performing at the level that they did. Both of them adding more to their resume. Jalen Brown another 40-point game, and and Tatum his fourth triple double game of his career. I'm pretty sure. So just both of them going up on the ranks and not only Celtic history but also their personal history as NBA players. I think it really just made me happy as a Celtics fan to see those two cooking up again. I feel like we kind of just reached a new level after this win. Um, and hopefully we continue to keep that same energy and intensity going for these next few games. As you mentioned, David, keeping that second seed is crucial with the Knicks team, who's two and a half games back, but they're like right behind. Essentially, because anything can happen within this next stretch. Doesn't matter who they're playing. So yeah, I'd like us to keep the same intensity, keep the same rotation, keep the same rhythm going, and hopefully the addition of Vucevic soon. Hopefully he's going to help fortify this team and solidify that um, season-ending stamp to secure that second seed. I was a lot more confident in us getting that first seed, but I think now I'm kind of like settled down on securing that second seed because I think that's way more important than going for that first seed, considering we're 4 games behind, and the Pistons are still actually a really good team, more of a good team than I thought they'd be after missing Cade. So yeah, it's gone. My focus has gone from getting that free seed to maintaining that second seed and still being a one of the best teams in the league come playoff time. And you're right, David. I think this was a great showcase of what you're going to see from the team come playoff time. And I honestly like the rotations. It was one of those games where I just think Winslow did a good job of, keeping those guys in consistent minutes, and giving some minutes to those other guys who haven't been getting some. You saw Walsh get 5 minutes, didn't score, but I think he had a pretty good impact in the game, a steal, a block, an assist, and a rebound. Um, I loved seeing him in the game in general. And I think that's kind of like Missoula still showing that, I'll still give him some minutes. He's still going to be part of that playoff rotation, hopefully. So maybe we'll see some more minutes from him coming up to the end of the season. I feel like we'll also see a lot of rest coming up soon for some of these starters. So it might be some time for these rookies or bench guys to kind of prove their worth and just prove that they are playoff worthy. But yeah, I think one of the players I'm most excited to see is Keita in the playoffs. I think this is going to be his first time starting in the playoffs for us. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be exciting. But this whole playoffs is going to be exciting. Honestly, I'm excited to see this team go up against no matter who, because I think it doesn't matter who we're going to play. I think we're definitely seeing a second round appearance from the Boston Celtics. So can't wait for that.
Yeah, from my perspective, I thought it was a very good week. You had that slip up against the Atlanta Hawks, but you can't complain about that one. I loved getting to see such good minutes from Amari Williams and even Charles Bassey. Yeah, I thought I butchered his name for a second. I was like, what am I doing? No, but great to see them get such good minutes, especially Amari Williams, who had, I think it was 6 rebounds in the first quarter. Like, he was phenomenal. And then you see that win last night. I mean, David, you mentioned it. This team is playoff ready. And I think you're going to see more of Ron Harper Jr. and more of those guys like Tanji Sholgo, which I'm excited to see because I've been dying to see them play all season because I've been seeing them in Maine a lot, and I'm excited for them to get an opportunity. But also because it's playoff time. We're getting ready for playoffs, and, that's when they get reps and get opportunities. So I'm super excited to see it. But another thing you guys mentioned was Vucevic, and I want to bring this up because the Vucevic timeline, when we expect to see him, and how do you guys think he's going to integrate back into this lineup, and how do you think the transition will be for the Boston Celtics? Because one thing about Vucevic is, right when you got Tatum back, the Tatum game went down with an injury, and it's like, is he going to be able to integrate back into the lineup fine? Because this was my only issue. The first few games, it was like, all right, Vucevic, he's good. He adds a little scoring boost, but he was just finally getting comfortable when Tatum came back, and then he goes out with an injury. How do you guys think this transition is going to be? That's my first question. How do you think this transition will be bringing Vucevic back? And then when you bring Vucevic back, you're essentially going to be playing a lot of your bench players because that's kind of the timeline. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it has the potential to be shaky when he first comes back. I think I would say that about anyone, really. I mean, he's been out for almost a month now. I think it's really important that he can get at least some reps towards the end of the regular season here, even if it is game 82. Hopefully, it could be by game 80 so we can play those last 3 games in some capacity. But if it happens, if it has to happen in game 1 of the playoffs, that's when it happens. I mean, the Celtics are no stranger to having big men come back in the playoffs. I mean, Kristaps Porzingis basically sat out, if I remember correctly, for most of the last couple weeks to the last month of the 2024 championship season. And when he came back in game 1 against the Heat, I saw it in person. He looked pretty good, especially in that first half. The reason why I'm just a little bit more hesitant with Vucevic is that we saw the potential. In some of these games that he was playing for us in right after we acquired him at the deadline, you could see the fit there, the potential to, be like a Porzingis in this group, be a guy that can stretch out the floor. But then there were some games where he just looked completely lost out there. So I think it's only beneficial if he comes back, but I think it's an interesting problem now. It's a great dilemma for Missoula to have, and it's just going to have to honestly be all about matchups. But I think Vooch and Garza are going to be just basically rotating minutes. Like one person is going to get those minutes behind Keita one night, and then the other night it's going to be someone else. Like it's playoffs, we can't afford to go three deep in the center rotation, at least really in the rotation period, because your minutes get a lot more concise in playoffs. You just got to play your best players for at least 40 of the 48 minutes. So it'll be interesting. I do think it'll be a little bit shaky, but I will never say that it's a bad thing having a center on your team that can stretch out the floor and be a threat from deep. I mean, that's just how you win in the modern day NBA. Again, that's how the Celtics won a couple of years ago. So I think it'll be shaky initially, but having Vucevic back, I think it'll be a good thing for sure at some point. I just hope that I hope that we're still on that timeline where he can come back in the next couple of games, get his feet back under him before the playoffs, and then just be somewhat more comfortable come the middle of April whenever we have our first game.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be really tough for Missoula. I think because it's hard to deny the talent that Vucevic has and how good he is and how impactful he is when he's comfortable and when he found the spot you mentioned at Griffin. He was just on the verge of finding his position and his strengths on the team before that injury. But I think now that we've found some of that comfort from guys like obviously Keita, who would be getting more minutes with Vucevic out. Garza now, who was also starting to see more of a reliable piece for us. And even Bassey a little bit, starting to kind of like prove that we made a good decision signing him to those 10-day contracts. Obviously, come playoff time, I'm still putting Vooch somewhere in that rotation. But yeah, like you said, David, it would just depend on how much experience, how much time he gets, and how many minutes he gets after coming back before playoffs. Because I think once those playoffs start, I think it's a lot tougher to get him into that rotation and like you said, squeeze both him and Garza and into that rotation come playoff time. So yeah, hopefully it's gonna be at some point during that 80 or 81st game, where he can kind of where we can test the waters with him and see where he's at, in terms of not only health and conditioning but also like mentally. If he's there, if he's reliable, if we can use him in the playoffs that much. So yeah, it's gonna be good to hopefully test that for Missoula, and just honestly kind of also on the chemistry level as well, because we touched up on it a little bit with Tatum coming back, but now I feel like it's going to be the same situation with Vucevic. I feel like because him and Tatum didn't really get much time to acclimate, and kind of figure out each other on the court. So that's going to be another interesting aspect. How can not only how can Vucevic and Tatum kind of like play together and what they both bring, but I also feel like it's kind of just how they can both impact the team in terms of chemistry. Because yeah, there was those stints where Vucevic was kind of like settling in and still trying to find his spot on the team, and during those times, I kind of just feel like the chemistry wasn't there honestly early on, and it's when it was starting to just feel right, with Tatum coming back and then he gets injured. So I think the chemistry levels is still definitely something that needs to be explored. And so it will definitely be exciting and interesting to see um how he fits back into this team.
Yeah, I agree 100%. with you guys. I think there's definitely going to be some struggles at first. He's been out for a little bit, but one thing I know about Vucevic is, he is an impactful center. He's a veteran. This guy brings nothing but veteran leadership to a team, and I think that's one benefit you see. And two, as David said, he's a big that could shoot the three as well, and helps you in so many assets. I think any production you get from him is going to be great because he has more experience than any of the centers on our team, and we saw it. I mean, he won a CNR MVP already and everything. He's had some good games. Obviously it's not a detrimental injury. Like, he had surgery on his finger, but it's not something like that can really break him down. So I'm excited though. I'm excited to see him come back and make a return. I'm going to the Garden on Tuesday for the Hornets game for a late birthday present. And I'm hoping to see him Tuesday. But I'm hoping to see him there. I doubt I probably will see Vucevic. But it would be fun to see him there. But that's where I'm hoping. I'm hoping he come back soon. That'd be great too. But I think him coming back will just be nothing but great for this team because he's experienced. He could add scoring to the team. He could get rebounds. I love it. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to mention on Vucevic though?
Diet Porzingis.
Diet Porzingis, Vucci main. What's the one that Carl had?
V for Vendetta.
Viva Vendetta. Yeah.
Either way, I better hear Drew Carter saying one of those nicknames. Or no, he won't. He's not calling the playoffs, but that's another reason. That's another incentive for Vooch to come back before the playoffs is that we can get a few 1, 2, or 3 last chances for Drew Carter to come up with a good nickname for Vucevic.
He needs a nickname. We need, but I like the ones that we have here at CNR. We have 3 good ones for him. And it sucks. You traded Simons for him, and you would love for him to play. And obviously Simons has been out too, so can't really knock on that. But it's like it just kind of looks like this Drew Holiday trade. Like, yes, it impacted you the first half of the season with Anthony Simons, but it's like Vucevic played like 5 games with us or something. Like, he's played less games with us than Tatum has this season. That's crazy to me. But I hope to see him come back soon. I can't wait. I can't wait. But now talking about Charles Bassey, because I believe his second 10-day is coming up soon. I'm assuming, right? Do you know how long, David?
April 5th. So that's Sunday, Easter Sunday.
Sunday. Okay. So Charles Bassey will probably no longer be a Celtic on April 5th. I say probably because you guys might have other opinions, but what do you guys think happens after Charles Bassey is no longer with us on this Celtics team? Because I'm under the impression that he's not going to be with us, but what do you guys think is going to happen on April 5th, Easter Sunday, after this 10-day contract is up?
Yeah, I think the guy to the right of him in this bottom ticker is going to be getting a standard contract from the Celtics. I've been saying it. I think we all kind of agree with it on this program. I think it's a sentiment that's basically agreed upon in the Celtics community that the Celtics are like $200,000 away from the luxury tax right now. And had they signed Harper to a standard contract any earlier, that the money that he would have had to get in that contract probably would have pushed us over the luxury tax. Whereas if we wait from like now until the end of the regular season, it's not even going to be like $100,000 they'll have to pay for Ron Harper for the rest of this season. But a move has to be made on April 5th. I would be pleasantly surprised if Bassey gets a standard contract. I don't think it'll happen, especially after we just gave Amari Williams a standard contract like 6 weeks ago. And we're pretty good with center depth. I did really like, as we all said, how Bassey played specifically in that Atlanta game. Like, he brought the energy. And obviously he was very dominant in Summer League last year. but it just seems like his sole purpose for these 2 10-day contracts is just to fill that 14th required roster spot. So I think the consensus move is that Bassey and the Celtics part ways, and then we just give Harper what is well deserved in a standard contract, and still leave that 15th roster spot open.
Before you go, Daniel,
Yeah.
I want to ask, because I know you're very good with this, David. If they gave him a multi-year contract, Ron Harper Jr., would they get punished for that? Like, get any of the punishments draft-wise or anything for being over the luxury tax, even if it's after, like, at that part in the year? I don't know if you know that, but
As far as I know, we would be good for staying under the luxury tax this year for sure, because you'd only be making like less than 100,000. But for next year, I think in the current, it would push us over the luxury tax, but then we would have until February of 2027 to make moves to get under it and not face the penalties.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Because that's what and then you go, Daniel, but that's what I hope for Ron Harper Jr. Obviously, we want him for the playoff run, and that's what's gonna happen. But I really want him longer than that too. I want him to be a part of this team for years to come, because I think he's the future of the Celtics. I think he's part of this. But go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, I need that multi-year deal bad. I need it. That has to happen. I feel like, yeah, for understandable reasons, we haven't seen much from him in terms of minutes, but from those minutes he has gotten, I think he has definitely more than impressed the fans, Joe Mazzulla, his other teammates. So I think, yeah, like you said, Griffin, it's basically already done, but it's like not done yet. It's one of those things where like we know it's gonna happen. But yeah, it sucks it has to come to at the expense of Charles Bassey, because I think I've enjoyed what I've seen from him in these short minutes that he's gone. Obviously, it has impacted other players like Amari, but at the same time, without Vucevic, we needed it was a good pickup. We couldn't have picked up a better guy in terms of what we needed. We didn't need another guard. That's the last thing we needed. We didn't need another wing. And I think what we really needed at the time was another big. And I think Bassey fulfilled that role really good for us. And maybe who knows? Maybe it's a name we come by again. At some point in the future, if we do need him, and if he's not signed by a team. I think at this point he has somewhat of a relationship with some of the players and Mazzulla. So I think it's one of those where, I see us signing him at some point in the future again, if need be. But yeah, if us, letting him go is how we close down that Ron Harper deal, then so be it. But yeah, happy with what I've seen from Bassey, and I wouldn't be surprised if we go back to him in the near future.
I just want to correct something I said earlier. We don't have to make a corresponding move after Bassey's contract ends on Sunday, because I forgot we signed Max Shulga to a standard contract. So with Max Shulga, we will have 14 roster spots, the required 14 roster spots, and we can leave the 15th open the whole season. So I think April 12th, I think the last day of the regular season is when we'll see Ron Harper get that 10-day, or I'm sorry, that standard, because we're saving 10 to 15,000 a day we wait to sign Ron Harper to a standard. And again, shout out to Google Gemini. I'm using my best friend Google Gemini for this information. But if we wait to sign Harper into the last day of the regular season, he's only going to have a salary of like 52,000 this season. Versus even if we did it on April 5th, it could be like closer to 100K.
Yeah, no, and I wanted to interrupt this talk really quick to let you guys know to stay tuned till the end, because we will be announcing a giveaway. So I just wanted to let everyone know that really quick. I forgot to mention it at the beginning, but let's resume back talk and stay tuned for the end so we can announce the giveaway. But No, I agree, but the whole Ron Harper Jr. thing, I feel like, I think because that's what you've kind of been nailing down that we're going to do it the last day of the season. But I also have a question for you guys. Um, do you see the Celtics in a world where they waive Max Shulga and sign Ron Harper Jr. And then give him a multi-year deal? Because I'm not even sure how much Shulga's contract is, but I'm sure it's probably a couple million at least. What if they gave that to Harper instead? Because I don't know if that will happen, but I'm just thinking that's something that could save them some salary. But again, in the minutes that Shulga has shown, I mean, he had 4 points not too long ago, and he hasn't been terrible, but like I just think a person like Harper, I like a little bit more on the Celtics roster. Nothing against Shulga at all. I think he's a phenomenal player, but do you guys think that could be potentially be a possibility too?
100%. While you were talking, Griffin, I also had that same question. I didn't know what Max Shulga's contract is, but according to Spotrac.com, it's 2 years, 2.36 million. He's making 212,000 this year, and there's a team option next year for the remaining 2.1 million. So my guess is that's going to get declined, and then we're going to use some of that to, as you said, be able to afford paying for Ron Harper Jr. So I think this is a classic case. Even if I didn't know this information, I would have said that we'd be waiving Shulga or moving on from Shulga. I think that he just got that standard contract again, just so that we can fill a roster spot, a required roster spot. But this contract is structured in a way where it allows the Celtics to get out of it and save two-ish million and allocate some of that to Ron Harper, no questions asked. So I 100% think that's what's going to be happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's a no-brainer for me personally. Once again, no hate to Shulga at all, but I think in terms of potential wise and like um where the ceiling is at for for both Shulga and Ron Harper, it's any Celtics fan would say, yeah, definitely. Because not only do you get a little more from Ron Harper, judging by what we've seen from him, it's also a much cheaper deal. I feel like for a player that we get a lot more out of. So yeah, definitely not only a money saving tactic, but also I just feel like Ron Harper is at a different level. That's also partly because I haven't seen much from Shulga, apart from the main Celtics, So yeah, part of that problem is just because, Max Shulga hasn't had enough minutes. But at the same time, with the minutes that Ron Harper has gone, he's proved a lot more, and I just feel like we wouldn't have gotten that same production from Shulga. Who knows? But yeah, at the moment, I would definitely opt for moving on from Shulga and giving that contract or a similar contract to Ron Harper.
Yeah, I think that's why I think that's the thing that I kind of see for the Celtics. Again, nothing against Shulga. I think he's very talented and he proved me wrong a lot in the G League this year. But I just don't see him long term for the Celtics. I look at a guy like Ron Harper Jr., who's actually showed significant things for the Celtics this year when his name was called upon. One being the Rockets game when he had 13 points and was locking up Kevin Durant. And then you also look at that game against the Spurs. You do lose that game, but if you win that game, Ron Harper Jr. gets CNR MVP with that 22 points. I mean, and just the other night too against the what team are we facing where he was hot. He was 3 for 3 and then he got injured. And that's the thing though. That's Charlotte. Yeah, that's the thing, though. Like, Ron Harper Jr. could have maybe even got a CNR MVP that night had he not got injured, but he got injured early. And, that's the only one downside I've seen with Harper is, at times where he's doing good, he does tend to get injured. I think it happened one other time this season, so it's not a big thing. But I'm just excited. I'm excited for these games where he's just going to take the game over And I hope we give him a CNR MVP before the season's over, because he reminds me last year of Baylor, just doing the little things to prove yourself and prove that you're meant to be on this roster. And I look at this and I think next year Ron Harper Jr. could really help this Celtics team. Maybe not this year, but you integrate him into the lineup next year and kind of give him more minutes, let him develop more. I think he could help the team out a lot. But do you guys have anything else you want to say on behalf of Ron Harper or Charles Bassey?
Maybe,
Go ahead.
maybe Ron Harper can be this year's version of Game 82 Pritchard and just go off against Orlando on April 12th.
Oh, I love it. What do you got, Daniel?
I wouldn't mind that at all. I mean, you set the starters for the last game, to preserve them for the playoffs, and you have the likes of, maybe Garza, Amari, maybe even Tanji gets some minutes, and I wouldn't be surprised if either of those guys went off for that last game. I'm actually more excited for that now, for that last game of the season now, because we're gonna get a lot of these guys who don't usually get minutes, and hopefully one of them proves something. It's the perfect time to do it right before the playoffs. To kind of just give your name a little more spark. Considering that some of these guys won't be seeing much of the floor come playoff time. So it's going to be a nice show out. But yeah, I was going to say that this Ron Harper Jr. journey, reminds me of what we're going to see from Omari as well. So it's going to be nice to see both of them develop and be hopefully solid pieces to the team come next year when they, start getting more minutes on the main Celtics, on the actual Celtics roster.
Yeah, like I'm even going to quote what Ian said not too long ago when he was on the podcast. I think it was episode 90 or 91. Go check that out. But he was saying, Cato was in the same shoes. Luke Cornett was in the same shoes. You look at these guys like Robert Williams. We're all in the same shoes as Amari Williams. So, Maine does good developing their bigs, and his time will come. His time will come. And for Ron Harper Jr., you guys want to hear who I think is going to really pop off the last game of the season? I think it's going to be John Tanji, low key. I don't know why. He's just such great talent, and he's so talented. And him dropping 40 something points a couple weeks ago, 41 in Maine. He's a player that I think is going to absolutely take it over. He did phenomenal. We're going to get into it shortly, but Maine Celtics got eliminated. He did a phenomenal in that game and was pulling up from half court, as they said in the comments, though, the parking lot. I mean, he's phenomenal. But anything else you guys have, though? And again, it's been such a great time watching Bassey on this roster. And, I thought after Summer League, that was the last we were going to see of him. But, finally came back on the team, and it was fun. It was fun while it lasted, for sure. But anyone have anything else? Perfect. Well, we'll move into our next topic, a little playoff look. We're not going to really get it too into it, but who do you guys want the Celtics to face first round? Who do you want them to face first round, and who do you not want them to face first round? We're not going to get into a playoffs a whole lot, but just a little something. Who do you guys got?
So I do not want to see Philadelphia. I know they're in the 6th spot right now, and I know that we've had success against them in the playoffs many times in the last decade, but part of me just thinks spiritually they're due to beat us at least once. Like LeBron against the big 3 Celtics back in the early 2000s, 2010s was always due to beat them, and he finally did. And then he just started kicking our rear end so many times after that, causing so many sad childhood memories for me. I don't want to relive that with the Philadelphia 76ers. And also, every game we played against them this year was very close, minus that last one. When Baylor Shireman started doing the bonfire, Baylor started doing the thumbs up thing. The 3 before that were, I think, all 1-point contests, 1 or 2-point contests. So that scares me when games are coming down the wire like that, because, I mean, it doesn't matter what talent is on the court or which team is more talented than the other. If the margins are that slim, either team can come out on top. And Paul George is starting to get back into a rhythm after coming back from his suspension. So that scares the heck out of me. I do not want to face Philly. Granted, I think we can beat any of these teams at the bottom of the playoff picture, but still, they scare me the most. It's not even really. I'm nervous about all the teams again, but again, I think we can beat all of them. But if I had to choose a team I'd want to face, even though I'm wearing red, I'm going to say the Raptors, just given the fact that we are undefeated against them so far in the regular season. We beat them all 3 times. I think they are slotted in that 7 spot right now as we speak. So that, no other logic than that. Just a team that we have experience winning against is a team that we have experience winning against in the regular season this year is a team that I want to face in the playoffs. And I say that knowing that we swept the Knicks last year in the regular season. We all know how that turned out. But just a team that we know we can beat is something I want to see first round. And that's Toronto for me.
Yeah, that's how I felt last year with the Magic. I really thought it was gonna be like an easy, 4 maybe 5 game stretch where you kind of like rest some of the starters here and there, but it turned out to be a lot more than that as we saw. There was such a physical team in my opinion. And I think even though we've learned from that, I just feel like it would be kind of the same result if we face them this time again. They do seem like an easy team to beat on paper, but they're so tough. Like when you actually playing them, they have such a good defensive mindset, which I think surprised Missoula and the Celtics last year. So yeah, I think that's one of the teams where I'd be a little skeptical of playing. I think we could definitely beat them, but it'd be kind of like it would just put a wear on our players' bodies. Coming up to that second round, and I'm pretty sure I feel like it had an impact. Last year, I feel like the players were more tired, more worn out against that next series after having to face the Magic in that first round. So either the Magic or I think Charlotte. I think Charlotte would be a tough team to face as well. They have kind of of a young core. It's another one of those where I do think we beat them in 5 or 6, maybe even 4, but just a tough team to beat. I feel like that blowout this season was kind of just like it was just kind of like whatever, but I just have a feeling that they could put up more of a fight in the playoffs, even though they don't have that much experience. But you did mention David, the Sixers, who not only have Maxey playing like one of the best guards in the East, VJ, top 5 rookie probably, PG back to his best it seems like, and Embiid, who I've not really much of a fan of. I gotta say, but he is good. I will say that, and he has been good since his return in the lineup. So has PG. So it'd be a tough team to face, but at the same time, I'd like the competitiveness. It's just something I like about a fun competitive playoff round compared to like a boring like 4 game one. But the 4 game ones are the easiest and would set us up best for the future for the next round. So I think if there's a team I do want to face, I think it has to be the Raptors. I agree with you, David. But yeah, in terms of teams I don't want to face, I think that first spot goes to the Magic just because of last year, and then the Sixers.
Yeah, for me, I'm gonna say I don't want to face the Sixers as well. I think David, you hit that one on the head. They're a team that's been really good this year, and I agree. I think also the Hornets would be one that I just feel like would get. It's not necessarily that I wouldn't want to face the Hornets, but they give me reminders to the Hawks a couple years ago. I went to Game 5 in the playoffs, and I forget what year it was, 23, I think, something like that. I went to Game 5, and it's like, all right, Celtics should win this one. Blake Griffin gets in later in the game and everything, and then all of a sudden, Trae Young catches on fire late in the game, and the Celtics lose that game. I feel like that's kind of more the style it would be, like a series that goes 6 games if you face the Hornets. So that would just be an annoying series where they'll just shoot the lights out of us. So, wouldn't be terrible, but that's one that would be like, it's just like a series that would be stretched. And then I would say I would I would be fine facing Toronto or Miami. And I know people are going to come at me for the Miami one, and I'm out here in Miami. But for what they did last night, and obviously how aggressive Bam is, and this beat the Heat situation, how intense that rivalry is. I think that's a series that we could still get done quietly easy. I don't want to quote myself on that, but I think that I wouldn't mind that a first round playoff. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to say though?
No, but I mean, I agree. I do not want to face or I'll take Southern Florida. I will not take the other part of Florida.
Yeah, I don't want the Magic first round.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, if we face Miami again, like it almost feels like it's destiny for the Celtics and Heat to face each other in the playoffs. I mean, it's in my opinion the best rivalry in the NBA, even though it's kind of fizzled out in the last couple of years. But if it's Miami, it's Miami. But not so much the players on the court with that, as much as I respect the players they have on the court. I mean, they just have a guy that scored 83 points in a game 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
What really scares me more about Miami is even though we got the better of him coaching wise 2 years ago, Spoelstra. I mean, scratch that. I don't even. We dominated in 2024, but they obviously didn't have Jimmy Butler in that series, but Eric Spoelstra can pull a rabbit out of the hat. He's the best coach in the NBA, so that would scare me going up against Miami. But utmost respect for them. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who we face.
Yeah, I agree. And we'll give you guys more playoff content once that's coming up. But might be our last main report of the season till next year, you guys, because if you guys didn't know, the Maine Celtics have been eliminated from the playoffs as we're going to exit out Daniel. So we appreciate you, Daniel. Thank you so much, and we will see you soon.
Peace, boys.
Thank you, Daniel. We will see you later.
See you.
Peace. But Andrew and I just did a recap to cover the loss we had, so you guys can check that out. But disappointing end to the season. I said it's funny. It's a full circle moment. Andrew and I interviewed Tosan Awoma. Fast forward, he's a two-way player for the Swarm now, and he sends the Maine Celtics home. So crazy. But rough season, but I wanted to reflect on it a little bit. We reflected on it there, but so grateful for the Maine Celtics and can't wait to be covering them again next season. But just so fun with how much great talent they had. They had such a great level of NBA talent this year. And I'm again going to say it. I think they are the most talented team in the G League. And then you could also give credit to the South Bay Lakers. I thought they're pretty talented too, but I think the Maine Celtics still have the edge on them. But phenomenal season. Got to see guys like Keon Johnson, Kendall Brown, Jalen Bridges. Obviously so many of the Maine Celtics talent, like with Amari Williams, Ron Harper, Tanji, and Shulga. All of those guys as well, and some returning faces like Hassan Ward and Cameron Warren's. Like, you go down the list, and just was a fun season. But what do you have, David?
No, I mean, I'm with you. Like, definitely an up and down season, but we did what we needed to do, and that is, in my opinion, a victory in and of itself for the organization, where we didn't win the G League championship, but we made the playoffs for the fourth straight year. Snuck in as a 7th seed. Got some great experience there in that final game that me, you, and Andrew went to, where that was like a game 7 of a playoff series where it's win or go home, and they capitalized. They crushed it that game to move on. So very happy with the way the team played this year. Shout out to Phil Pressey. Assuming this is a one and done for him, it'll be interesting. He's getting a lot of good exposure as a head coach, and now we can bring that back to the bench up in Boston, working alongside Mazzulla again. And we'll see who the next head coach is for the Maine Celtics. That'll be interesting.
No, without a doubt, I'm excited for next year to see who the coach is. But David, I want to ask some questions now. And it's going to be harder for you because you didn't attend a ton of the games. But we're going to go. We'll first off give our most improved player, and I think this one will be from me because wait, you went to a game last year. Maybe you can, but there's very, very few options. I feel like you could go in the direction of a Ron Harper Jr., but again, with the organization very shortly, he was on a two-way last year with the Pistons, and this year I thought he was very improved. But I'm gonna go more the route of either Hassan Ward or Cameron Moorens, and I'm going Cameron Moorens. I thought from last year, being picked up mid-season, and then this year, actually like having a significant role with the Maine Celtics. Keon Johnson was out with the injury, and Cameron Warren stepped up this year and was really a fun player to watch. So shout out Cameron Warren. I'm gonna go most improved for me.
And even though I can't speak to that too much, but I'll co-sign Cameron Warren's. You know why?
Why?
Because I'm looking at the stats right now. In this season, in 28 games, he averaged 6.7 points per game.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And then let's go. What else we got for awards? What else awards can we give out?
Rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year. Oh yeah, I'll go. Yeah, rookie of the year. I'll go. I'm going Hayden Gray, 100%. Hayden Gray was phenomenal. I think with Max Shulga obviously and Amari Williams, you can't really count them because they weren't really with the organization full time. Maybe you can, but I'm going out of the bag. I'm going Hayden Gray. I thought he was phenomenal. Set the season record for team record for steals. He was just such a fun player to watch, and I'm going to Hayden Gray on that one.
Yeah, I respect your Hayden Gray pick, and that's a perfectly good pick. I'm just looking at the stats here. I'm going to go, just for the sake of variety, I'm going to go Max Shulga because he played 26 of the 36 games, played 33 minutes a game, 15 points per game.
Yeah.
Very, very, very respectable numbers, in my opinion.
And then we got to go MVP, right? Or do we have any other awards we go to creep up to MVP?
Let's do MVP. Why not? Let's rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah. Oh, I have one more. Who is most likely? No, it's hard because all of them I think have bright futures in the NBA, so I can't even say that one. Just again, such a talented team. We'll go MVP. I'm going Kim. I don't think we can go. I don't think we could go Ron Harper Jr. though. He didn't play. How many games?
10 games.
10 games. Oh yeah, you can't go Ron Harper Jr. How many did Amari play?
18. So he played half the season.
So can you get? No, you can't really give it to him, right?
I'll throw out some names here. I can't really. I mean, you paid attention to it a lot more than me, so I can't really. I'll throw out some names for you and tell me what you think. So, Jalen Bridges played all the games, and he averaged 15 points per game, 33 minutes a game.
Okay.
Kendall Brown, 29 games played, 32 minutes a game, 16 points. And let's see. Hassan Ward played 33 games, only 10 points. I mean, it seems like it's between
Bridges and Brown because Keon didn't even play a lot. And
Keon, he was right. They were great in the games they played in, but Tanji and Keon only played 11 games each. So I think it's only right for it to be between Bridges and Brown.
I'm gonna go Kendall Brown for you. I think this year he was phenomenal, and it shows why because he's been in the NBA. But even Bridges, I mean, for him to be in a two-way contract last year, that's why it's tough because Bridges is like, oh, he was that's like his second year, like him doing this, like you gotta give him some benefit. But I'll go Kendall Brown. I thought his dunks were just incredible this year, and he was a fun player to watch, and you could tell he's NBA ready. So I'm going Kendall Brown. Are you going Bridges though?
This is a tough one. I'll make it a unanimous decision. I'll go with Kendall Brown as well. I mean, Bridges played in more games, but Brown played most of the season, almost 16 points. He shot almost 55% from the field, 32% from deep. Yeah, I have no issues going with Kendall Brown. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm all on board with that as well.
Bridges is so talented though. He is, and he has the build of an NBA player. Like you could see how he knocks down the three too. He's an NBA player. I'm just saying it right there. I'm saying it right there. Do you have anything else though you want to reflect on, or anything you want to say? I just think Maine Celtics all throughout this year was such a talented roster. They were even guys like Tosan Awoma, who played in the NBA. We got to talk with him. And it's funny. I said this. Last year you have the Maine Bulls, the Chicago Bulls, pretty much in Maine. Ron Harper Jr., his son Ron Harper, DJ Rodman, his son Dennis Rodman, and then you get Kavion Pippen, his uncle, I think, is Scottie Pippen. So you had the Bulls there, and this year you have like the UK. You have the UK Celtics with Tosan Awoma and Amari Williams. So you gotta love it. You gotta love it.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely gained a newfound appreciation for minor league affiliates of NBA teams. I think that this was a great team to follow, just given all the traffic up in Maine and down to Boston there was this season, with all the players funneling in and out. More specifically, guys like Amari Williams and Ron Harper Jr. and towards the end here, Max Shulga. But yeah, I mean, appreciate obviously the Maine Celtics organization for letting me specifically come with you to a practice and watch that one day, and was really excited to interview Amari Williams. And yeah, I'm looking forward to going to even more games next year if the opportunity presents itself. And it's a fun time. It's cool to see the players who are either trying to revive their careers or jumpstart their careers. So I'm looking forward to exploring that more next season.
Yeah, I can't wait. We're gonna have a fun time covering them for you guys again next season, and even more in depthly next season. So we're excited for that. But with that being said, now Doc Rivers inducted to the Hall of Fame. The only reason this is relevant is because David, I want you to take this away because you said a perfect point earlier, and I want you to nail it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the majority of the reason why Doc Rivers is making the Hall of Fame is because of the championship he was able to get as coach of the Celtics almost 20 years ago. But other than that, he did make the NBA Finals a couple years later in 2010 with the Celtics as a coach as well. And let's give Doc his props. He has basically been a coach in the NBA consistently for like the last 30 years straight, other than, half a season a couple years ago. He started as a commentator. Then way back in the early 2000s, he had a year as a commentator as well. But other than that, you've basically been seeing Doc Rivers on the sidelines consistently. So that deserves to be appreciated. And he has the sixth most wins of all time as an NBA head coach. He was voted as one of the top 15 head coaches of all time in the NBA in 2022. So, I don't expect everyone in the world, especially in the NBA community, to agree with this decision. I know Doc Rivers is one of the more polarizing NBA head coaches because there have been some lowlights, but I just want to focus on the positives here with Doc Rivers. It's a huge honor to get inducted to the Hall of Fame of basketball. I will never know what that feels like, but congratulations to Doc Rivers, and looking forward to seeing you in Springfield this summer.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I gotta go to Springfield and check out Doc Rivers in there now. My brother and I went a couple of years ago, but congratulations to him, and a little short segment for you guys, but gotta give him a round of applause. I mean,
no bleeps for Doc Rivers.
no, we have beef with him whenever he faces the Celtics now, but we love and dear him in our heart for that championship in 2008 and what he did with the organization. So Gotta love Doc Rivers. Gotta love him.
Ubuntu.
Yep, you're right. You're right there. You're right there. I mean, created a great saying for the Celtics and everything. Like he has a huge impact on this team because everyone values that 2008 championship, and he was heavily invested in that. Let's give him his flowers. But next up, David, before we move on to our final topic, the road ahead. And I will be at one of these games, so I'm actually excited for the road ahead to this. I'm prepping for my visit to the TD Garden as well. Come say what's up at the Hornets game.
Yeah, so let's see. We got 4 games coming up. I think
Milwaukee, Toronto, Hornets, and Knicks. You want me to go first?
Let's see. I think yeah, you can go first. How about that? I got to think about this.
I'm going 4-0. I'm going 4-0, David. I think we beat the Bucks. That's one that I want to see the Celtics dominate, and I think you beat the Raptors. That's the one that I'm kind of a little hesitant towards because again, you're 3-0 so far on the season, as you mentioned. That last game could kind of get you as they're going to want to creep up in the playoffs, and that Hornets one's going to be tough too, because it's one of the last games of the season. But you're going to want to play your actual players because the Hornets are going to come at you. You know, they're not on a back-to-back, I don't believe, again, and we're not on a back-to-back, so that one's going to be an intense game for sure. And the Knicks, obviously, Celtics Knicks are always intense games, but I think Celtics go 4-0 this week. I really do.
Yeah, so I was originally going to say 2-2, but you've got me on this positivity train. I'm also going to go 4-0. These games are just so hard to predict because it's the end of the season. You don't know which players are going to be resting. I think Tatum's definitely going to be resting for one of these games potentially. Maybe we have a back-to-back coming up with the Knicks and then the Pelicans, so the 9th and 10th. I think Tatum rests for one of those games. My guess is the Pelicans game after this stretch, but I'm going to go 4-0. I'm feeling positive. I think we're going to, yeah. I mean, I think we're going to beat all the teams. So I'm saying we're going 4-0. But the most interesting game for me is that Knicks game. I think there's going to be a lot of pent up emotions there. That's going to be a playoff like atmosphere for sure. Kind of like that game at the end of the year last year where we crushed them. We weren't even trying to win that game last year in April, and we beat them in overtime. We were just hucking up threes that whole game. We still somehow beat them. I think it's going to be a lot similar to that. We're going to see, that's going to be like a playoff game simulated. I think all our key guys are going to be playing heavy minutes. I don't know if that game's going to decide the 2 seed, but depending on how both those teams play in the previous 3 games, we'll see. Yeah. But that is the most interesting game. Quick little story with that, too, is let's not forget Tatum has yet to play at Madison Square Garden since the injury. I have a feeling he's definitely going to be playing in that game, and he's going to want to go off. So that's the marquee matchup for me.
I'm predicting for that game Tatum to drop 40.
You think so? Pick up right where he left off. He had 42 before the injury.
I think he gets high 30s to 40. I think he does. What do you think? Where do you think he is?
I could see a 40-piece for sure. Or a 40-piece, or
a triple double
all night shooting wise, but he hits like the dagger shot at the end.
I like that one. That'll be so. That's our gold ball right there. That's what you guys get for this week, and I agree that I'm excited for the Hornets one. Don't forget that one. We'll look past that one, but that's going to be a fun one. I'm just saying that I'll go into that one. I'm excited, and you got to think Tatum's going to be playing. That's his own bobblehead night. So,
and the revenge game. I mean, that was the game right before Tatum came back, and we lost by almost 30 or 40. So we got a chance to right the ship with a potential playoff opponent, the Hornets.
Without a doubt. But speaking of bobblehead, we are doing a giveaway. David, you gotta love it right there. You gotta love it. The giveaway. I'm gonna let you guys know what we are actually giving away in just a second. But actually, we'll do it right now, and then I'll teach you how to enter into our giveaway. So this is our first official giveaway, and we thank the Maine Celtics because they gave us some sick stuff. We got some sick stuff from the Maine Celtics, where they were actually giving it away. So if you guys weren't able to go to a Maine Celtics game this year, we got you covered, and we cannot wait to give some stuff away. And this is your chance next year to get your tickets and go get some of this cool stuff, because this stuff we're only giving to one person. So you guys gotta go to some games next year. You gotta. But David, I'm gonna take over the screen really quick. As let me try to do this.
The floor is yours.
All right, there we go. I'm going to show you guys what we got. So first up, here, I'll try to get myself away. We got the J.D. Davison bobblehead that will be the, like, grand prize. This is what you guys are, I bet, mainly going to love from it. You got the J.D. Davison bobblehead right here. Then what we got, David, we got a sick Maine Celtics hat that they were kind of giving away at the end. Says TD Bank on the back of it. Andrew's been repping this all the time. We're going to put a hat in there. And then, I got a certain guy that will love this, Ron Harper Jr. fan. We got some sick posters that we're also going to put in here. We got the LL Bean one right here with Coach Phil Pressey and the whole team from the beginning of the season on it. Just a phenomenal poster right here. And then I think this is going to be the fan favorite poster, but we got right here, the big three. Super sick to be doing this. Again, here is how you enter the giveaway. You have to be subscribed to the Celtics Nation Rise YouTube channel. So make sure to subscribe right now, you guys. In addition to that, you also have to be following our Instagram. So go check us out on Celtics Nation Rise on Instagram. And then in addition to that, we're going to do a post. The post should be up right after this video is released. So in that post, go like it and tag 3 friends in the comments and either repost or post it on your story, that post that we have on Instagram. That's going to be the giveaway post. I know, David, the hand gesture is going everywhere, but that is how you guys enter. And again, we will be choosing a winner in probably a month or so. So make sure to go enter in the giveaway. And then add a little spice to it. DM us a screenshot of you being subscribed to the YouTube channel, and that's how you guys get enter the giveaway. But in addition to that, we will be announcing. How about this, David? We announced the winner on episode 100. Episode 100. That'll be a fun one. 6 episodes.
6 or 7 weeks away.
Yeah, so you guys have 6 or 7 weeks to enter into this giveaway, and on episode 100, we will be doing the giveaway. But David, any final thoughts before we close out? Again, giveaway, we'll keep it down there so you guys remember, but final thoughts before we close out.
Just keep on pushing, and the regular season on a high note, and shout out to the Maine Celtics for this hat. And for Amari Williams signing it here on the bottom. So, these hats are the real thing. Hope we get a ton of Canada people signing up for this giveaway. Shout out again to the Maine Celtics for giving us all this swag. Happy to give it to the fans. We owe all this to the fans. And I would be remiss if I did not mention this before the end of the podcast, but happy belated birthday, Griffin. I know I said happy birthday to you yesterday, but this is being filmed after your birthday. On behalf of me and the whole CNR community and Chasing the Monster community, we appreciate you, everything you do, and none of this would be possible without you. So happy birthday to you.
Well, thank you so much, David. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for the birthday wishes yesterday. And I have to say happy early birthday to David. April 11th, everyone make sure to go spam him with happy birthday. So, gotta love it. But again, great time today. And, make sure to tune in for the week as we will be giving you guys coverage of the games. But with that being said, you guys, Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications to be notified every time we upload. And make sure you are subscribed and if you guys want to be entered in the giveaway. So we will see you guys with the next one. Peace, you guys.
See you.